The mountain town of Silverpine was nothing like the city. It was quieter, too quiet. Mist hung over the trees even at noon, and the wind carried a strange scent, like rain and wild earth. Aaron pressed his hands deeper into his jacket pockets as he walked up the worn steps of his new school. The old stone building looked more like a forgotten monastery than a place where teenagers studied. He had only been here 5 minutes, and already, whispers followed him down the hallway. New kid. He's from the city. Bet he won't last a week. He ignored them. He was used to being the outsider, the one who never quite fit in. But there was something about this school that felt different. The air was heavier. The students kept glancing toward the back of the hall like they were afraid of something. "Hey!" said a cheerful voice beside him. A girl with short auburn hair grinned. "You're Aaron, right?"
"I'm Tessa."
Word of advice, don't talk to Ryder. "Ryder?" Aaron asked, frowning. Tessa's expression dimmed a little. "You'll know him when you see him. Everyone does." He did later that day in gym class. While everyone else joked and paired up for basketball practice, one boy sat alone near the bleachers. Black hoodie, dark jeans, hood up even indoors. He wasn't just quiet. He radiated silence. Like the air around him didn't dare move. That had to be Ryder. Coach blew the whistle. "Pair up." In the chaos, Aaron fumbled, chasing a runaway basketball across the floor, straight toward Ryder. The ball rolled between his boots. "Sorry," Aaron said, reaching for it, but his foot slipped, and he bumped Ryder's shoulder. A sharp sting. Aaron looked down. A small scrape, just enough blood to glint under the gym lights. Then everything stopped. Ryder's head tilted up slowly. The hood fell back, revealing eyes that glowed faintly gold. Animalistic, alive. For a second, no one moved. The air grew colder, heavier. "Ryder?" the coach called. But Ryder didn't answer. His chest rose sharply, nostrils flaring as if catching a scent on the air. His gaze locked on the tiny drop of blood on Aaron's skin. And then he growled. Low, deep, primal. A sound that didn't belong to a human throat. Aaron froze, heart hammering. The gym went dead silent. Even the fluorescent lights seemed to flicker in fear. Before anyone could react, Ryder stood abruptly and stormed out, his eyes still burning. Tessa rushed to Aaron's side, pale. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. Aaron blinked, still trembling. "Done what?" "Touched him," she said. "Or bled near him." She glanced toward the doors Ryder had vanished through. Because Ryder isn't normal. He's something else. Outside, somewhere deep in the forest beyond the schoolyard, a wolf's howl echoed through the mist, long, haunting, and furious. And Aaron felt it deep in his bones. Whatever Ryder was, their paths had just become dangerously, irreversibly entangled. Wolf face. Ever since that day in the gym, Aaron couldn't escape those eyes. Golden, wild, almost glowing when they caught the light. At first, he thought he was imagining it, that maybe Ryder's strange reaction had just been some weird outburst. But the next morning, as Aaron stepped into class, his gaze was already waiting. Ryder sat at the back, hood pulled low, jaw tense. His pencil wasn't moving. He wasn't taking notes. He was just watching. Every time Aaron looked up, those eyes found him. Unblinking, calm, yet burning with something primal. By lunch, it was worse. Aaron carried his tray through the cafeteria, trying to focus on finding an empty seat, when a ripple of silence swept across the room. Students turned toward the corner table, where Ryder sat alone, staring straight at him again. "Is he?" Aaron whispered to Tessa, who was beside him. "Yeah," she said under her breath. "He's been doing that all day. Don't make eye contact." But Aaron couldn't help it. Something inside him wanted to, needed to, and when their eyes met, it was like a jolt of electricity raced down his spine. The noise of the cafeteria faded away. For a second, it was just them. A strange, unspoken pull that neither of them understood. That night, it got worse. Aaron's dorm window looked out toward the forest. The rain had stopped, but the wind still whispered through the trees. He turned off the light, sat on his bed, and tried to focus on his homework. Then he felt it, the weight of a gaze. He turned and froze. Outside, just beyond the faint shimmer of the dorm light, a shadow stood under the trees. The same shape, the same stillness. Ryder. He wasn't moving, just standing there, watching. Aaron's heart pounded so loud he could hear it in his ears. "What the hell?" he whispered. He went to the window, but when he blinked, Ryder was gone. Only the forest remained, dark and silent. That night Aaron dreamed. He was running barefoot through the woods, breath fogging in the cold air. The moon hung low, silver and endless. And behind him a growl, low, close and hungry. When he turned, a pair of glowing gold eyes met his. He woke up gasping, sweat clinging to his skin. The window was open, though he was sure he had locked it before sleeping. And faintly, drifting in through the misty dawn, came the echo of that same growl he'd heard in the gym. Ryder was out there, watching, waiting, and Aaron's heart, though terrified, couldn't decide if it wanted him to stop or come closer. Wolf face. The forest behind the dorms always looked different at night. Deeper, older, alive. Aaron didn't know why he'd gone out there. Maybe it was the dream. Maybe it was the silence pressing too heavily on his chest. Mist coiled around his shoes as he walked the narrow path. The moon hung low between the trees, a pale coin of light. Every sound felt magnified. The crunch of leaves, the whisper of wind, the distant howl that froze his breath. That sound. Long, mournful. Close. Aaron's pulse quickened. He turned back toward the path leading home, but something inside him, that same strange pull he'd felt since meeting Ryder, urged him to keep walking. He followed the sound until he reached a clearing. The air shimmered with cold, and the smell of pine mixed with something else. Something metallic, sharp, and sweet. And then he saw him, a shadow at the edge of the trees. Broad shoulders, bare feet, eyes glowing red beneath the moonlight. "Ryder," Aaron whispered. The figure stepped closer. The light caught his face. Yes, it was him, but his expression was different. His breath came in ragged bursts, chest heaving like he was fighting himself. "You shouldn't be here," Ryder growled, his voice low, rough, not entirely human. "Why are you?" Aaron started. But the words were cut short when Ryder's gaze locked on his throat. The golden glow in his eyes deepened to crimson. "Go," Ryder said, but it came out broken, as if torn between command and plea. Aaron took a step forward instead. "You're shaking. Are you hurt?" The next moment blurred. Ryder moved. Fast, too fast. And suddenly Aaron was against a tree. The air punched out of his lungs. Warm breath hit his neck. "Don't move," Ryder hissed. His voice trembled with restraint. Aaron's heart pounded. He could feel it, the brush of fangs against his skin, the sound of Ryder's heartbeat syncing with his own. The world dimmed, tilting between fear and something else he couldn't name. Then a sharp sting. Heat. Darkness. He thought he heard his name whispered once, broken and desperate, and then nothing. When Aaron woke, sunlight spilled across his room. His head throbbed. His memory was a fog of fragments. Red eyes, warm breath, and the echo of a wolf's heart beating in his chest. He sat up slowly. That's when he saw it in the mirror. A faint mark on his neck. 2 small punctures, perfectly parallel, already healing. His breath caught. He touched them. They burned under his fingers, like they knew who had made them. Outside, somewhere beyond the dorm walls, a low growl rolled through the morning mist. Not a warning this time. Promise. And deep inside, Aaron realized, whatever had happened last night wasn't over. It was only the beginning. Rain dripped steadily from the rooftop, tapping against the library windows like a whisper that refused to fade. The corridors were empty. Just the quiet hum of distant lights and the faint rustle of pages from the stacks. Aaron had hoped to hide there. He hadn't seen Ryder since that night in the woods, but he felt him everywhere. In the way his skin prickled for no reason. In the way his dreams ended with glowing eyes and a whisper that wasn't quite human. He thought maybe it would fade if he ignored it. He was wrong. As he turned a corner, a shadow moved, silent, deliberate. Before he could react, a hand shot out, catching his wrist. The books in his arms tumbled to the floor with a dull thud. Ryder stood there. His hood was gone, and for the first time, Aaron saw the sharp line of his jaw, the tension in his shoulders, and the way his eyes gleamed like molten gold in the dim light. "Ryder! Don't run," Ryder said, his voice a low growl that vibrated through Aaron's chest. "It'll make things worse." "Worse?" Aaron's voice shook, half anger, half confusion. "You bit me. What the hell did you do to me that night?" Ryder's jaw tightened. "I didn't mean to." He stepped closer, so close Aaron could feel the heat rolling off him. Wild, alive, dangerous. "It wasn't supposed to happen." "What wasn't?" Ryder hesitated. For a second, something flickered in his eyes. Guilt, fear, and something softer he was trying to hide. Then, finally, he said it. "You're mine now." Aaron blinked. "What?" Ryder's voice dropped lower, his gaze fierce and unrelenting. "That bite, it wasn't just a wound. I marked you, accidentally, but the bond is there. I can feel you, your heartbeat, your fear, even your scent. It's all tied to me now." Aaron's pulse raced. "That's insane." "Is it?" Ryder stepped closer again, until Aaron's back hit the wall of books. "Can't you feel it too? The pull? When I'm near you?" Aaron wanted to deny it, to tell him he was wrong. But his body betrayed him. Every nerve alive, every breath catching when Ryder moved. The air between them pulsed with something electric. "What are you?" Aaron whispered. Ryder's eyes glowed faintly. "The only one left of my kind. The last werewolf in Silverpine." Aaron's lips parted. The pieces started to fit, the howls, the growl, the eyes. "And now what?" "I'm one of you." "No," Ryder's voice softened. "You're still human. But that mark means you're connected to me, protected by me, bound to me." He looked away then, guilt clouding his expression. "I didn't mean for it to happen, but I can't undo it." Silence stretched between them. Rain pattered harder outside, like the world itself held its breath. Aaron's voice was barely a whisper. "So what does that make me now?" Ryder looked at him then, eyes burning like embers. "It makes you mine." Aaron's heart stumbled in his chest. Fear, anger, and something dangerously close to longing tangled inside him. Ryder stepped back, breathing hard, like he'd said too much. "Stay away from the woods," he muttered. "There are others who'll smell the bond on you. They won't like it." And before Aaron could respond, Ryder vanished into the shadows again, leaving behind only the echo of his growl and the fire in Aaron's chest that refused to die. Aaron sank to his knees, trembling. His fingers brushed the faint mark on his neck. It was warm again, pulsing, alive, and somewhere deep inside, a voice. Not his, whispered softly through the link they now shared. "You're mine." The days after Ryder's confession felt like walking through a dream Aaron couldn't wake from, or maybe a storm he couldn't escape. He tried to pretend things were normal. He went to class, laughed with Tessa, even avoided the forest. But no matter where he went, he could feel Ryder. Sometimes it was just a faint pulse beneath his skin, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. Other times it was stronger, heat curling low in his stomach, a whisper in his chest that said, "He's near." And every time Ryder was near, the air around him changed. It happened in the library first. Aaron was shelving books when a familiar scent drifted in. Pine, rain, and something warm and wild that made his hands shake. He turned, and there he was. Ryder stood a few feet away, eyes dark, jaw clenched tight. "Why are you following me?" Aaron snapped, though his voice came out softer than he intended. "I wasn't," Ryder said, low and rough. "I just can't stay away." Aaron took a step back. "You said the mark was a mistake. Then why are you?" "Because you're sent." Ryder's voice broke. He shut his eyes, fists curling at his sides. "It drives me insane." The words hung in the air, heavy and trembling. Aaron's pulse jumped. "My scent." Ryder nodded once, breathing unevenly. "It's stronger every day. It's not supposed to be this way. When a wolf marks someone, The bond calls to both sides. The wolf's instincts and the human's blood. It wants, it needs. He cut himself off, biting back a sound that was half growl, half sigh. Aaron's throat went dry. Needs what? Ryder opened his eyes then, and they weren't gold anymore. They were glowing amber, fierce and beautiful. You, he said simply. Every breath you take calls to me. Every heartbeat feels like it's under my skin. He stepped closer. So close Aaron could feel his warmth. Torture. Aaron's back hit the shelves. His body betrayed him again, reacting before his mind could catch up. The bond pulsed like fire through his veins, their connection humming in the charged air. Ryder. Ryder's breath hitched, his nose brushing against Aaron's neck. The wolf in him was fighting, trembling with restraint. You don't understand what you're doing to me, he whispered. I didn't ask for this, Aaron said, his voice barely more than a breath. I know, Ryder replied, his tone breaking, but neither did I. He stepped back then, shaking his head like a man fighting his own shadow. His chest rose and fell rapidly. Stay away from me, until I can control it, until I can control myself. Ryder! But he was already gone, vanishing into the corridor before Aaron could stop him. Aaron leaned against the shelves, trembling. The scent of him still lingered, wild, electric, intoxicating. And as much as he wanted to deny it, deep down he knew the truth. He didn't want to stay away, because every time Ryder looked at him, every time that faint growl rumbled in his throat, Aaron's own pulse responded. Not in fear, but in want. The bond wasn't just connecting them, it was consuming them both. The forest was quiet that night, too quiet. Moonlight spilled through the trees like silver water, and Aaron followed it, each step guided by a pull he couldn't explain. He didn't mean to find Ryder. He just felt where he was. The trail led deeper than any map showed, past broken fences and whispering pines, until a small cabin appeared, half hidden under the glow of the moon. Smoke curled faintly from the chimney. Aaron hesitated at the door. His heart thudded hard enough to echo in his ears. Ryder, he called softly. No answer, only the soft creak of wood. He pushed the door open. Inside, the space was dim, rough wooden walls, old books, a single candle burning on a table. Ryder sat near the window, shirt half open, eyes glimmering gold in the candlelight. He didn't look surprised to see him. I told you to stay away, Ryder said quietly. Aaron swallowed. You didn't mean it. A muscle in Ryder's jaw tightened. You shouldn't be here, Aaron. It's dangerous for both of us. Then tell me why, Aaron said, stepping closer. Tell me what you're hiding. For a long moment, Ryder said nothing. The firelight flickered over his face. Sharp, beautiful, tired. Then he exhaled slowly and stood. When a wolf marks someone, he began. The bond demands completion. But I didn't do it right. I fought it. That's why the mark burns instead of heals. Aaron frowned. So break it. Ryder laughed softly, but it wasn't a happy sound. If I reject the bond, my body starts to decay from the inside. The bond turns on me. Slowly. Painfully. Aaron froze. It could kill you? Ryder nodded once. And if I give in to it, it could destroy you. That's the curse. The air went still. Aaron could feel the raw truth in Ryder's voice, the edge of fear hidden beneath the roughness. He stepped forward until they were just a breath apart. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Ryder's eyes softened. Because I didn't want you to look at me like that. Like what? Like you pity me. Aaron's lips parted. I don't pity you, Ryder. Ryder's hand trembled slightly as he turned away. Then why are you here? Aaron hesitated, but he knew the answer now. It wasn't just curiosity or the strange bond between them. It was something warmer, deeper, something he hadn't wanted to name. I came because I didn't want you to be alone, he said finally. Ryder's breath caught. He turned slowly, his eyes glowing faintly in the silver light. You shouldn't care about a monster. Aaron shook his head. You're not a monster. Silence stretched between them, the kind of silence that felt fragile and sacred. Then Ryder took a step closer. "Don't say things like that," he whispered. "It makes me want things I can't have." Erin's pulse fluttered. What if I want them too? For a heartbeat, everything stopped. The moonlight framed them, two souls caught between curse and choice. Ryder reached out, his fingers brushing Erin's cheek, tentative, reverent. "If you knew how dangerous that was, I'd still say it," Erin murmured. The touch lingered, neither of them daring to move. The pull of the bond wasn't just magic now, it was emotion, real and undeniable. Ryder finally drew back, his voice barely a whisper. "The full moon's coming. Stay away that night, Erin. Promise me." Erin didn't answer. He just looked at him, really looked, and realized that compassion had already turned into something else. Something he could no longer hide. Because under that pale, merciless moonlight, Erin wasn't afraid anymore. He was falling. The night of the full moon came heavy and wild. Clouds torn open by silver light, the air thick with the scent of rain and something electric. Erin could feel it before it began. That strange hum in his blood that always seemed to echo Ryder's heartbeat. He shouldn't have been outside. He'd promised to stay in the dorm, to lock his window, to pretend the world wasn't about to break apart. But when he heard the first growl echo across the woods, low and desperate, his legs moved before his mind could stop them. The sports field behind the school was chaos. Shadows darted through the mist. The pack, half shifted, fighting to keep control. And at the center of it all was Ryder. He wasn't the boy Erin knew. His eyes burned molten gold. His body was trembling and shifting, skin splitting into fur, claws scraping the ground. He roared, the sound primal and broken, sending every student fleeing into the dark. Someone screamed. A boy had fallen, his arm cut open, blood dripping onto the grass. Ryder turned, nostrils flaring. The scent hit him like fire. He lunged. Erin didn't think. He just shouted, "Ryder!" For a moment, everything stopped. The moonlight hit his eyes, wild, feral, and something inside them shifted. The beast froze mid-stride, claws inches from the terrified boy. His breathing came ragged, torn between instinct and recognition. "Ryder, please," Erin whispered, stepping closer. "It's me." The other wolves growled low, uneasy. They could feel it. Something strange, unnatural, a human voice holding power over one of their own. Ryder's muscles shook violently. His claws dug into the earth as he forced himself back, snarling, fighting his own body. The pack leader barked orders, trying to control him, but Ryder only looked at Erin. Like the sound of his name was the only thing keeping him sane. Erin reached him slowly, his hand trembling as he touched Ryder's arm. The fur was warm, coarse, trembling beneath his palm. "Breathe," Erin murmured. "You're not alone. You're not a monster." A low whine escaped Ryder's throat, the sound of something breaking. His body twisted, reshaping, bones cracking until he fell to his knees, half-shifted, human again but shaking violently. "Erin?" he rasped, voice hoarse, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "You stopped me." The others stared silent, stunned. A human had calmed a raging wolf. That wasn't supposed to be possible. The pack leader's voice came low and cautious. "The bond. It's stronger than we thought." Erin didn't care about what it meant. He just dropped beside Ryder, wrapping his arms around him as he trembled. "You're okay," he whispered. "You're safe." Ryder leaned into him, breath hot against Erin's neck. "You called my name," he said quietly, "and everything else disappeared." Erin's chest tightened. "Then I'll keep saying it, as many times as it takes." Around them, the pack watched, some in awe, some in fear, as the full moon glowed above. A bond that should never have existed was now unbreakable, echoing through every wolf's pulse that night. Because when Erin called his name, Ryder didn't just stop the beast. He found his reason to stay human. The next morning, the air felt heavy, the kind of silence that came after a storm. Classes were canceled, the school grounds half empty, But Aaron could still feel the whispers chasing him down every hallway. The boy who tamed the beast. He hadn't seen Ryder since the night before. Only blood on the field, claw marks in the soil, and the memory of golden eyes softening at the sound of his name. So when someone blocked his path outside the library, tall, cold, and radiating authority, Aaron froze. Luca, the pack's alpha. Even in human form, his presence was suffocating. Black hair slicked back, gray eyes sharp like blades, every movement calm but dangerous. He didn't speak for a long time, just studied Aaron like he was some rare, fragile thing. You shouldn't be here, Luca said at last, voice low, controlled. Aaron's pulse quickened. I go to school here. I live here.
Luca stepped closer.
That's not what I mean. Something primal flickered in his gaze. Not hatred, but warning. If you're his mate, he said, every word deliberate, the pack will come for you. Humans aren't allowed in our world. Aaron's breath caught. I didn't choose this bond. Luca's eyes softened, just a fraction. Neither did he. He turned slightly, glancing toward the forest. Do you know what happens when a wolf claims a human? It unbalances everything. Instinct fights reason. The bond drives them mad. It's forbidden for a reason. Aaron clenched his fists. Then why does it feel so real? Why does it feel like love? Luca finished for him almost gently. Because the bond mimics it. It feeds on emotion. You think you love him, but it's the mark tying your heart to his hunger. Aaron flinched. That's not true. Luca's gaze sharpened. Maybe not. But tell me this human. When he loses control again, when the moon rises and his instincts scream to claim you, will you still believe it's love? Aaron's throat went dry. He didn't answer. Luca sighed, a sound more weary than cruel. Walk away before the others find out what you are to him. They won't all stop when you call his name. And with that, he disappeared into the trees, leaving Aaron standing in the cold morning light, heart pounding like thunder. That night, Ryder came to him. He looked exhausted, shadows under his eyes, shirt torn at the collar, every inch of him restless. You talked to Luca, he said quietly. Aaron nodded. He said the pack will come for me. Ryder's jaw tightened. He's not wrong. Then what are you going to do? Ryder's golden eyes met his, fierce, burning, defiant. Whatever it takes. He stepped closer, his voice trembling with the weight of a choice he'd already made. If they think I'll let them touch you, they've forgotten who I am. Ryder. He grabbed Aaron's hand, pressing it to his chest where his heartbeat thundered like a storm. I don't care about their laws anymore. I'll fight them if I have to. For you. Aaron stared at him, stunned. You'd go against your own pack? Ryder's lips curved in a bitter smile. For you, Aaron, I already have. Outside, the wind howled through the trees, a warning carried from the alpha himself. But inside that tiny dorm room, two hearts were already breaking the oldest rule of the pack. Never love a human. The nights had become heavier since the alpha's warning. Every sound outside Aaron's dorm made him tense. Every flicker of shadow near the window felt like eyes watching. But somehow he wasn't afraid of the danger anymore. He was afraid of what was happening between them. Because Ryder had stopped pretending. He slept outside Aaron's dorm now, not hidden, not secret. Sometimes, Aaron would wake up to the faint sound of footsteps pacing the hallway or the whisper of claws against the stone floor. He didn't need to look to know it was Ryder standing guard. At first, it scared him, the possessiveness, the intensity. But the more he saw Ryder's quiet devotion, the harder it was to stay angry. One morning, when Aaron opened his door, Ryder was sitting on the floor outside, half asleep, head against the wall. The early light made his hair glow bronze, and his breathing was soft, almost peaceful. Have you been here all night? Aaron asked, his voice breaking the stillness. Ryder blinked awake, startled. I heard something move near your window. Aaron frowned. Ryder, you can't just... I have to... Ryder interrupted, his voice raw, too honest. You don't understand. Every time you're out of my sight, it feels like my chest is tearing open. Aaron's heart twisted. That's not healthy, Ryder. It's not human, he whispered. I know. There was a long silence. The hallway smelled faintly of rain and coffee, and Aaron suddenly realized how close they were standing. How Ryder's eyes flicked between his lips and his pulse. It should have made him step back. But instead, his voice came out softer than he meant. Then what are we supposed to do? Ryder hesitated, then reached up slowly, his fingers hovering near Aaron's cheek but not touching. I can't stay away, he said. But I don't want to hurt you either. The warmth in his voice sent a shiver down Aaron's spine. He could feel the magnetic pull between them, that invisible bond that made every breath, every glance, feel charged with something more than fear. Days blurred together. Ryder followed him to class, sat at the edge of the cafeteria, always watching, always silent. The other students noticed. The quiet boy with the strange eyes who never ate, never spoke, never left Aaron's side. And though it embarrassed him at first, Aaron couldn't deny the way it made him feel safe, desired. One afternoon, during a storm, Aaron found Ryder in the old gym. Training, shirtless, sweat glistening on his skin as he fought invisible enemies. Each movement was fast, precise, beautiful in its feral grace. Are you trying to intimidate the rain? Aaron teased gently. Ryder turned, startled, then smirked faintly. You shouldn't sneak up on a wolf. I don't think you'd ever hurt me. His smirk faded. Don't be so sure. Aaron stepped closer, unable to stop himself. The scent of rain and cedar surrounded him. The sound of Ryder's breathing deep and uneven. His pulse raced, but not from fear this time. Then prove me wrong, Aaron whispered. Ryder froze. The tension between them snapped like a stretched wire. He took one step forward, then another, until Aaron's back hit the wall. His hands trembled as he lifted them, pressing against the wall on either side of Aaron's head, caging him in but never touching. His voice was rough, breaking. You don't know what you're asking for, he said, echoing the same words he'd once said under the moonlight. Aaron met his gaze, unflinching. Maybe I do. The space between them burned. Ryder's eyes darkened with hunger. Not for blood, but for something deeper, something forbidden. He leaned in just enough that Aaron could feel the heat of his breath against his skin. And then, with a shudder, Ryder tore himself away, punching the wall so hard it cracked. I can't, he growled. If I lose control, I'll destroy everything. Aaron's chest ached at the sight of him, this creature torn between love and the beast inside. He took a cautious step forward and whispered, Then don't fight it alone. Ryder turned toward him, eyes glistening with a mix of pain and longing. You make it sound so easy. It's not, Aaron said. But I'm still here, aren't I? Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, silence. And in that silence, desire whispered louder than fear. The kind of desire that promised to burn everything, yet still felt like destiny. The forest was silent that night, too silent. The usual hum of crickets and rustling leaves had vanished, replaced by something heavier. The air smelled of blood and rain. Aaron ran, branches whipping against his arms, heart pounding like thunder. He didn't know how he knew, but something inside him pulled him here, to the woods, to him. Then he saw it. A smear of blood across a fallen log, claw marks in the dirt, and a familiar figure slumped against a tree. Ryder! Aaron's voice broke as he fell to his knees beside him. Ryder looked up weakly, eyes glowing faintly gold in the shadows. His shirt was torn, blood staining his ribs, the moonlight turning his wounds silver. You shouldn't be here, he rasped. Aaron ignored him. Who did this? Ryder's jaw clenched. Another wolf. A warning from the pack. Aaron's hands trembled as he tore open his backpack, pulling out a water bottle and a torn piece of cloth. Stay still, he whispered. Ryder flinched as the cold water touched his skin, but he didn't pull away. Aaron worked carefully, cleaning the gashes across his chest and shoulder. The heat of his skin burned against Aaron's fingertips. Alive, strong, stubborn. You're going to get yourself killed because of me, Aaron muttered, his voice shaking. Ryder's lips curved faintly. Worth it. Don't joke, Aaron said, though his voice softened. You're bleeding. Ryder caught his wrist gently. You're shaking. Aaron froze. Their eyes met. That same look they'd shared 100 times but never dared to hold this long. It was a look that burned through fear, through reason, through everything the world told them they shouldn't feel. Why do you always protect me? Aaron asked quietly. Ryder's voice dropped to a whisper. Because you make me forget what I am. Aaron frowned. And what's that supposed to mean? Ryder leaned his head back against the tree, exhaling shakily. When you look at me, I don't feel like a monster. You make me feel human again. The words struck deep, simple, raw, beautiful. Aaron felt his throat tighten, tears stinging his eyes. Ryder, he began, but the rest was lost as the world seemed to fall away. The moon broke through the clouds then, flooding the clearing in silver light. Ryder's gaze softened, and his hand lifted slowly, trembling, brushing a lock of hair from Aaron's face. Don't look at me like that, he whispered. I'll lose what little control I have left. Aaron's heartbeat thundered. Maybe I want you to. For a moment, neither of them moved, caught between fear and the pull of something inevitable. And then, with a breath that felt like surrender, Ryder leaned in. Their lips met, gentle at first, uncertain, then deeper, desperate. His mouth tasted of iron and rain, his hands rough against Aaron's skin but careful, always careful, as though afraid to break him. The kiss wasn't just a spark, it was fire meeting storm. When they finally broke apart, both were trembling. Ryder's forehead rested against Aaron's, his breath uneven. I shouldn't have done that, he whispered. Aaron smiled faintly, his thumb brushing Ryder's jaw. Then don't stop. Ryder let out a quiet, broken laugh. You're going to be the death of me. Maybe, Aaron murmured, but you'll be alive until then. Above them, the moonlight spilled across the forest floor, turning blood into silver, pain into something sacred. Their heartbeats fell into rhythm. Two souls caught between the curse of the beast and the miracle of love. And for that one moment, beneath the moon's gentle gaze, they weren't a wolf and a human anymore, just Ryder and Aaron, two heartbeats in the dark. The peace they'd found beneath the moon didn't last. It never could. The very next week, the mountain air turned cold, unnaturally cold, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. The teachers whispered about a new transfer staff member, someone sent by the school board to investigate the recent animal attacks. But the wolves knew better. So did Ryder. When he first caught the scent, his entire body went still. Iron, silver, holy ash, all the smells of death wrapped in one human disguise. The hunter had returned. Aaron noticed the change instantly, the tension in Ryder's shoulders, the way his golden eyes stayed shadowed even in daylight. He avoided the cafeteria, skipped class, and whenever Aaron tried to ask what was wrong, Ryder's answer was always the same. Stay away from the new teacher. The man's name was Mr. Kellen Ward. Tall, with sharp gray eyes and a smile that didn't reach them. He wore gloves even indoors, and something about him made Aaron's instincts scream. That afternoon, while most students were gone, Kellen found Aaron alone in the library. He didn't approach like a teacher, he stalked like a predator. You're Aaron Vale, aren't you? He asked, voice smooth, almost pleasant. I heard you were close to Rydercross. Aaron froze. He's just a friend. Kellen smiled faintly. Friendship with his kind doesn't end well. His kind. The words sent a chill through Aaron's chest. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do, Kellen said softly, leaning closer. I've been hunting creatures like him my whole life. They ruin everything they touch. But you, he studied Aaron's face, eyes narrowing with interest. You're special. He marked you, didn't he? Aaron's pulse spiked. You're insane. Kellen's smile didn't falter. You think I can't smell it? The bond clinging to your skin like smoke. He reached into his coat pocket and dropped something on the table. A silver bullet, etched with runes. It gleamed under the library lights. Tell me where he hides, and I'll let you live. Aaron's stomach twisted. You're threatening a student? I'm saving you, Kellen said calmly. From the thing that sleeps outside your door. Aaron's anger flared. He's not a thing. Kellen's expression hardened. Then you've already made your choice. Before Aaron could speak, the lights flickered. The air shifted. And then, a shadow moved near the library's window. Ryder. Watching. Waiting. Kellen turned slightly, smirking. He's closer than I thought. Don't, Aaron warned, stepping between them. But the hunter only laughed. You're protecting him. How romantic. Aaron's voice trembled, but his resolve didn't. If you go after him, you'll have to go through me first. The man's smile vanished. Then you're a liability. He left with silent steps, but his words stayed, venomous and cold. You can't hide him forever, boy. And when the moon rises, the pack will burn with him. That night, Ryder appeared at Aaron's window, pale and tense. You talked to him, didn't you? Aaron nodded. He knows about us. Ryder's expression darkened, his voice barely a whisper. Then it started. What has? The hunt. Aaron's heart raced. What do we do? Ryder's hand trembled as he touched Aaron's cheek, his eyes fierce and desperate. Whatever happens, don't leave my side. Promise me, Aaron. Outside, the wind howled through the mountains, carrying the scent of silver and death. The forest no longer felt like home. The wolves were being hunted, and this time, the human with the wolf's heart was the first target. The night smelled of rain and iron. Ryder's wounds hadn't healed. Not from the hunter's silver, not from the curse inside him. Every breath he took was labored, every heartbeat louder than thunder. But none of that mattered, because Aaron was in danger. The hunter's threat wasn't idle. Ward had already started tracking through the forest, laying traps laced with salt and wolf's bane. The pack had gone into hiding, but Ryder couldn't. Not when Aaron's name was already written in the hunter's plans. So, under a shrouded moon, Ryder made the one choice he'd sworn never to make. He brought Aaron to the ancient clearing, the one the pack called the Vein of the Moon, where the forest bled with old magic. Ryder, Aaron whispered, shivering in the cold. Why did you bring me here? Ryder's eyes glowed faintly, amber-streaked with pain. Because it's the only way I can keep you alive. You don't need to. Yes, I do. His voice cracked. He's after you because of me. If he kills me, the bond will fade and take you with it. But if we bind, he paused, jaw tight. If we bind souls, my life will protect yours. My strength will become yours. Aaron stared at him. You're talking about ancient magic. Blood binding. Ryder nodded. It's forbidden. And irreversible. The forest pulsed with wind. Trees groaning as if warning them both. Aaron's heart thudded. If we do this, what happens to us? Ryder looked away. You'll feel me. Everything I feel. My hunger. My rage. He stopped, his voice softening to a tremor. My love. For a moment, time froze between them. Just the sound of rain tapping on leaves and two hearts beating in sync. Then Aaron stepped closer, trembling. Then let me feel it all. Ryder's control cracked. He cupped Aaron's face, eyes fierce and tender all at once. Once we start, there's no going back. I don't want to go back, Aaron whispered. Ryder drew his claw across his palm, a thin line of red glowing faintly with moonlight. Aaron hesitated only for a second before doing the same. When Ryder pressed their hands together, the forest shivered. A pulse of light shot from the ground, deep crimson laced with silver, swirling around them like living fire. Repeat after me, Ryder said, voice low and ancient. Blood to blood, breath to breath, soul to soul. Aaron's voice shook but didn't falter. Blood to blood, breath to breath, soul to soul. Pain seared through his chest. Not sharp, but deep, like his heart was being rewritten. He gasped as warmth flooded his veins, visions flashing before his eyes. Ryder as a child under a blood moon. Ryder alone in the woods. Ryder crying silently beneath the stars. And then Ryder looking at him. Not as prey, not as a burden, but as something sacred. When the light faded, Their palms still glowed faintly. An intricate mark now burned into their skin. Two overlapping sigils forming one. Aaron's breathing was ragged. "Ryder, I can feel you." Ryder smiled faintly, eyes wet. "Good. Because now, I can feel you too." But before the moment could settle, both of them froze. From the distance came a whisper, faint but chilling, carried on the wind. Then Aaron stepped closer, trembling. "Then let me feel it all." Ryder's control cracked. He cupped Aaron's face, eyes fierce and tender all at once. "Once we start, there's no going back." "I don't want to go back," Aaron whispered. Ryder drew his claw across his palm, a thin line of red glowing faintly with moonlight. Aaron hesitated only for a second before doing the same. When Ryder pressed their hands together, the forest shivered. A pulse of light shot from the ground, deep crimson laced with silver, swirling around them like living fire. "Repeat after me," Ryder said, voice low and ancient. "Blood to blood, breath to breath, soul to soul." Aaron's voice shook but didn't falter. "Blood to blood, breath to breath, soul to soul." Pain seared through his chest. Not sharp, but deep, like his heart was being rewritten. He gasped as warmth flooded his veins, visions flashing before his eyes. Ryder as a child under a blood moon. Ryder alone in the woods. Ryder crying silently beneath the stars. And then Ryder looking at him, not as prey, not as a burden, but as something sacred. When the light faded, their palms still glowed faintly. An intricate mark now burned into their skin. Two overlapping sigils forming one. Aaron's breathing was ragged. "Ryder, I can feel you." Ryder smiled faintly, eyes wet. "Good. Because now, I can feel you too." But before the moment could settle, both of them froze. From the distance came a whisper, faint but chilling, carried on the wind. The forest trembled beneath the blood moon. The air was thick with the scent of rage, loyalty, and betrayal. Ryder stood in the clearing surrounded by his pack. Wolves with eyes burning gold and crimson under the cursed light. At the center stood Luca, the pack's alpha, broad-shouldered and cold-eyed, his voice echoing with command. "Ryder Black Fong," he said, every syllable like a blade. "You broke sacred law. You bonded with a human, a weakness that could doom us all. You've left me no choice." Behind Ryder, Aaron clutched his arm, heart pounding as the growls of the pack grew louder. The earth itself seemed to pulse with fury. "I won't let you take him," Ryder said, voice steady but low, animal beneath the calm. "This isn't about letting," Lucas snarled. "You belong to this pack. To me. You don't get to choose love over blood." Ryder took a step forward, defiant. "Then you've already lost me." A ripple went through the pack. Shock, disbelief, a few growls of approval. The younger wolves glanced nervously at one another. No one had ever defied the alpha so openly. Luca's lip curled. "Then by the law of the moon, you are no longer one of us." He ripped off the Black Fong insignia from his chest and threw it to the ground. "Exile or death." Ryder's claws extended, his pupils narrowing to amber slits. "I choose neither." For a moment silence ruled. Then chaos. Wolves lunged from all sides, their forms shifting midair, fur and fangs flashing red beneath the moon. Ryder met them head-on, his body half-shifted, claws slicing through fur and blood. The forest exploded with sound, snarls, roars, and the sickening crack of bone. "Ryder!" Aaron shouted, dodging behind a tree as a wolf nearly tackled him. But before the beast could reach him, Ryder tore it away, growling, "Stay behind me!" The blood bond between them burned. Every strike Ryder took, Aaron felt as a distant ache. Every wound Aaron feared, Ryder sensed as pain in his chest. They were two hearts beating through one war. Luca charged, his wolf form towering, fur black as night. His claws met Ryder's midair with a shockwave that splintered the trees. "You think love makes you strong?" Luca snarled, pinning him down. "It makes you weak." Ryder's voice was a growl through clenched teeth.
No, Alpha.
"It makes me unstoppable." He drove his claws deep into Luca's shoulder, forcing him back. The blood moon pulsed brighter, and suddenly, the mark on Ryder's hand flared. Aaron cried out as the bond activated, light shooting from both their bodies. Ryder's eyes glowed red-gold. No longer just wolf. Something more. Something ancient and wild. The pack froze mid-fight, sensing the power awakening in him. By the bond of blood, Ryder roared. I claim my own path. The energy blasted outward, sending wolves tumbling. Luca stumbled, panting, eyes wide with disbelief. What are you? Ryder straightened, his claws dripping silver light. A wolf who chose love over chains. Aaron ran to him, breath trembling, and Ryder pulled him close, their hands still glowing with the mark that refused to fade. The alpha stared for a long moment, fury and pride warring in his gaze, before shifting back into human form. Then go, he spat. But when the next moon rises, and the pack needs you, remember this. Even love bleeds under war. Ryder didn't answer. He just took Aaron's hand, turned toward the trees, and disappeared into the red-lit forest. Behind them, the pack howled. Not in rage this time, but in mourning. Two silhouettes vanished beneath the blood moon. One cursed, one chosen. Bound together in love that defied even the alpha's law. The forest lay in ruins. Smoke curled up from burning trees, the metallic scent of blood thick in the night air. The echoes of battle faded, leaving only the ragged sound of Aaron's breathing, and Ryder's broken form lying motionless beside him. Ryder? Aaron's voice cracked, raw with disbelief. He dropped to his knees, shaking the werewolf's shoulders. Ryder, wake up! Ryder's eyes fluttered open, faint gold glimmer fading beneath the weight of exhaustion. His chest rose shallowly, his body covered in claw marks and silver wounds that refused to heal. The alpha's last strike had pierced his side, silver-coated claws meant to end a wolf forever. Don't cry, Aaron. His voice was barely a whisper, more air than sound. I told you, I'd protect you no matter what. Aaron's tears fell freely, streaking dirt and blood. You can't say that like it's goodbye. You promised me. You promised. Ryder smiled weakly, his hand trembling as he touched Aaron's face. I guess even wolves break their word sometimes. No, Aaron grabbed his hand, pressing it to his heart. You're not allowed to leave me. Something inside him broke then. A desperate, uncontrollable force that surged through his veins. The mark on his wrist, the mate bond, glowed faintly, reacting to his grief, his love, his fear of losing him. The wind changed. The moon seemed to pulse, as though it felt the ache of his heart. Ryder's body twitched, his claws digging into the earth. Aaron, stop. You don't know what you're doing. But Aaron didn't stop. He leaned down, pressing his forehead against Ryder's. Then let it kill me too. I won't live in a world where you're gone. The mate bond ignited. Light erupted from their bodies, gold and silver threads swirling together, wrapping around their hearts like burning vines. The energy seared through Aaron's chest as he gasped, his tears glowing against Ryder's skin. The world had finally gone quiet. No more hunters, no more blood, no more wars under the cursed moon. Just the soft rustle of pine leaves outside the cabin and the distant song of a nightbird echoing through the woods. It had been weeks since the battle, weeks since Aaron had given a piece of his soul to save Ryder. The scars had faded, but the connection between them pulsed stronger than ever. Sometimes, when Aaron closed his eyes, he could feel Ryder's thoughts, the warmth of his emotions like a heartbeat echoing inside his chest. He'd gotten used to the quiet life here, tucked deep in the forest beyond the school's reach. Mornings were simple, sunlight spilling across wooden floors, the smell of pine and wolf fur. Evenings were spent beside the fireplace, where Ryder would sit cross-legged, sharpening old silverless blades while pretending he wasn't watching Aaron read. But nights were different. That was when Ryder would shift, fur dark as smoke, eyes gold like melted fire, and curl protectively around Aaron on the bed. His head would rest beside Aaron's chest, listening to the heart that now beat for both of them. Tonight was one of those nights. Aaron ran his fingers through the soft fur at Ryder's neck, smiling faintly. "You're warm," he whispered. Ryder's wolf form gave a low, content growl, his tail twitching once before he shifted back into human form. Skin against skin, his breath brushing Aaron's collarbone. "I told you," he murmured, voice husky. "Wolves run hot." Aaron chuckled softly. "You also said you don't like cuddling." The world had finally gone quiet. No more hunters. No more blood. No more wars under the cursed moon. Just the soft rustle of pine leaves outside the cabin and the distant song of a night bird echoing through the woods. It had been weeks since the battle, weeks since Aaron had given a piece of his soul to save Ryder. The scars had faded, but the connection between them pulsed stronger than ever. Sometimes, when Aaron closed his eyes, he could feel Ryder's thoughts, the warmth of his emotions like a heartbeat echoing inside his chest. He'd gotten used to the quiet life here, tucked deep in the forest beyond the school's reach. Mornings were simple, sunlight spilling across wooden floors, the smell of pine and wolf fur. Evenings were spent beside the fireplace, where Ryder would sit cross-legged, sharpening old silverless blades while pretending he wasn't watching Aaron read. But nights were different. That was when Ryder would shift, fur dark as smoke, eyes gold like melted fire, and curl protectively around Aaron on the bed. His head would rest beside Aaron's chest, listening to the heart that now beat for both of them. Tonight was one of those nights. Aaron ran his fingers through the soft fur at Ryder's neck, smiling faintly. "You're warm," he whispered. Ryder's wolf form gave a low, content growl, his tail twitching once before he shifted back into human form. Skin against skin, his breath brushing Aaron's collarbone. "I told you," he murmured, voice husky. "Wolves run hot." Aaron chuckled softly. "You also said you don't like cuddling." Ryder looked up, eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight filtering through the window. "I didn't until you." They stayed like that for a while, wrapped in warmth, silence, and 1,000 unspoken words. The moonlight moved slowly across the wooden floorboards, painting silver lines across Ryder's back. "Do you ever regret it?" Aaron asked suddenly, his tone fragile. "The bond, the curse, all of this?" Ryder didn't answer at first. He just pressed his forehead against Aaron's and breathed him in, that familiar scent that had once driven him mad. Now his calm, his peace, his home. Finally, he whispered, "You may have been an accident, Aaron." Aaron's lips curved sadly, but Ryder's next words made his heart still. "But you're the only one I'll ever choose." The world outside seemed to fade. The moon, the wind, the whispering pines, leaving only the steady rhythm of 2 heartbeats intertwined. Ryder's arms tightened around him, and Aaron buried his face in his chest, feeling that fierce, eternal warmth that only a wolf's heart could give. He knew now what forever meant. It wasn't immortality. It wasn't endless life. It was this quiet laughter in a forest cabin, moonlight tangled in fur, the sound of someone breathing your name like a promise. And as the night deepened, Aaron whispered back against Ryder's skin, "I guess some accidents are worth destiny." Ryder smiled, a rare, honest smile that only Aaron ever saw, and kissed his forehead. Outside, the full moon glowed like a blessing. Inside, 2 souls slept as one, bound not by curse or blood, but by choice. "My wolf, my forever."